Hello, everyone. This is Nicole with the Family Liberation Front, and today we will be talking about the investigative findings and the appeal process. After CPS becomes involved in your life, they will send out an investigator to investigate any and all of the claims that are made against you for neglect or abuse. Now, after this investigative finding is submitted and they have substantiated um, a claim of neglect or abuse against you, you should receive the DPP 152 substantiated investigation notification letter, and this is what it should look like. So it should include the office address of your local CPS office, the date that they filled this letter out, your name, and the date that this finding was substantiated. Now, here they provide all the laws, um, and below that, they put the factual basis for the finding of neglect or abuse. They also include the federal laws that tell you that you are entitled to have an administrative hearing. Now, this isn't just a Kentucky thing, this is mandated by federal law. So, if you're not in the state of Kentucky, you should be able to find a form in your version of the cabinet that would provide you the same information. They are required to send this information to you. You attach to this, if this was mailed to your home, you should find the DPP 155 request for an appeal. And you have to submit that form, and it has to be postmarked within 30 calendar days of receipt of the letter. This is going in Kentucky, this goes to the Office of the Ombudsman. And this is where you would challenge the information that was provided to you in this section above. And also, when you get a copy of your investigative report and you go through it and you challenge line by line what they reported in that investigative report, this is where you'll supply this information. They should give you contact information, the phone number, email address, name, staff name, and their title of whoever filled out this form. So if you don't have this form and you're within your 30 days of a substantiation, immediately request it. Do it today. If you are past the 30 days, you can still start challenging what was put in your investigative report with the information that you have and supply that to the Office of the Ombudsman. We will go through the Office of the Ombudsman, who they are, what they do, and how to talk to these people in another video. But now we're going to look at the DPP 155. But let's go through the DPP 155 form. So it says attention to persons who are not eligible for an administrative hearing, right over here on the left-hand side. For a resolution of a matter not subject to review through an administrative hearing, you can call the Ombudsman's office at this number, or you can submit it in writing. There's an email address for them that I will share in the Ombudsman video. And also, it will tell you to submit your grievance in writing to the Service Region Administrator or designee no later than 30 days from the date of the action that the Cabinet has performed to which you object. So I will provide a link at the bottom of this video that provides the Director of Service Regions for the state of Kentucky. The state of Kentucky splits up the cabinet into 9 separate service regions. Inside each service region, there are groups of counties, and in those, under each county, in each service region, they will list the supervisors, managers, office staff, administrative staff, so that you will be able to contact them by phone, get their email addresses. As always, I highly encourage you to only communicate with these people via email. That gives you a clear paper trail that you can document your efforts, and they can't say they didn't know. On top of that, if you are going to be calling them and speaking to them on the phone, Kentucky is a one-party recording state, which means that only one person involved in the recording, one party, needs to be aware that it is being recorded, and it is completely legal. So if you have to talk to them on the phone, record the phone calls. Save those, protect yourself. Now, this is required by federal law. Over on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see the federal laws that regulate it, as well as the Kentucky statutes that regulate this. They are very clear about the dates that you need to send this in. You've got 30 days. So this is what the form looks like, and it should have been attached to the DPP 152 that was mailed to your house. Again, if you didn't get that, or if you misplaced it, email your caseworker, email the ombudsman's office, CC your attorney, and request another copy of this be sent to you. So it will have your contact information, street address, all of that. And it'll say, please state in detail the nature of the investigative finding and provide the reason why you wish to dispute the cabinet's finding of child abuse or neglect. Additional paper may be used if necessary. Now, my tip to you when you're filling out these forms, and you will probably need additional paper, make sure that you keep it brief, keep it direct. Do not put any emotional language in there. Don't use combative language or accusatory language like lie, hid, things like that. They're not going to listen to it. It's already going to be, you're already having to overcome an obstacle because you're automatically presumed to be guilty, even you're just guilty, just period. That's just the way it works. And they are going to try to find reasons to kick out any complaints that you have. Don't give them a reason. So you're going to fill this out with blue ink. And you're going to fill it out with blue ink because you're going to keep the original. So you fill this out with blue ink so that you can easily identify that this is the original. You're going to photocopy it and any other additional paper that you may need. And to describe your issue, you're going to send them the copy, and you're going to keep the original in your files. So here, please identify the date that this substantiated investigation notification letter was received. So you're going to need the envelope for that because it's going to be date stamped. It's going to be postmarked of when that was processed. Now, in this section, please state in detail the nature of the investigative finding and provide the reason why you wish to dispute it. Now, in my case, they accused me of having bags and bags of narcotics and over an ounce of heroin in my home, when in fact I had no drugs in my home. And I was able to prove that many months down the road through the state crime lab results. But they still reported it as fact that they found drugs in my home when they did not. Sorry about that, it's my neighbors. They still reported it as fact. They also wrote the narrative in such a way as to make it sound as though I was providing them with wrong information, even though I clearly didn't. Thankfully, I have body camera footage to dispute what was reported that was said over what was actually said. That's why recordings are so important. They will misrepresent information and use wordplay. For example, they claimed that I did not allow the police in my home, which necessitated a search warrant, and that I was not forthcoming and uncooperative with the investigation. When in fact, I had allowed the police in my home, and they were in my home, in every room of my home, for approximately 2 hours before anyone requested a search warrant. At that point, I was no longer in my home, and I stood on my Fourth Amendment rights and said no, because the behavior of both the police and the CPS investigator was so abusive that I no longer wished to speak to them and had no desire to cooperate with them at all after the way they were acting. So things like that. They wrote a narrative to make it appear that my behavior and attitude was one way, when in fact that was not true. So they twisted the facts. And while you might think that that's a small thing, it certainly isn't. This wordplay and misrepresentation of facts is something that all Kentucky families have to deal with when dealing with CHFS. I hear it from every family. That's not what I said. That's not how that went. They'll parse out conversations, take statements out of context, or just blatantly fabricate an admission, a disclosure, or anything else that they think they need to do in order to reach this substantiation. A lot of people might find that harsh, but if you have experience with the cabinet, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here you will need to identify each cabinet staff person involved with the subject matter of your appeal. So if it is the investigator, then you need to name the investigator. There is a website that Kentucky has, Kentucky Transparency, where you can look up every employee employed by the state of Kentucky, and you can see their job title, you can see their salary, and you can get an idea of when they were even hired. So if you don't know their title, but you want to be as complete as possible, I'll link that as well so that you can go and look up the people involved in your case. You'll see their work address should be the same as the local office that's handling your case. And if you need more than one piece of paper to discuss, to add people to this investigative appeal process, then go ahead and add it. Follow their format and always be as brief as possible. Now, here, this is where you sign, where it says signature of appellant. That is you. And if you have an attorney, then your attorney can sign here. It says if appropriate. I would insist with my attorney that they file this. Like I told you at the beginning of the video, I was told there was nothing that I could do to challenge the investigative report and the substantiation. That was not true then. It is not true now. I just found these appeals and these letters recently, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So here's the link to it. It's all PDFs. You can Google it. You can Google, CHFS DPP 155, CHFS DPP 152. They are downloadable. They are printable. You can fill it out. If you have a PDF editor, you can fill it out and just upload it straight into your email, or you can print it out and fill it out by hand, copy it, and mail it into the office. And that's how we start the investigative review process.